Welcome to another episode of the Adrienne Ross Show, where sports and culture connect. I'm going to make this really quick because I just finished the live stream. I was live for the Indiana Fever game against the New York Liberty, and we were hanging around afterwards. It got a little bit heated, and so I want to come back because some people didn't get it when we were talking about this in the chat. So I'm going to share with you so we can make this plan. I know people already 1 second into the game already talking about Stephanie White and she needs to go and blah, 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 blah. I've been hearing the whole thing over and over again. Listen, the officials lost this game at the end. Now, there are a lot of things that lead to the end, but Caitlin Clark was, first of all, Lexie Hull clearly did not foul Sabrina Ionescu. And everybody was like, why didn't she challenge? That was my initial question. We move on because you still got to play the game. So then we get to the end of the game, 2.9 seconds on the clock. Obviously, you want Caitlin Clark with the ball in her hand. She gets the ball in her hand. And number one, Natasha Cloud held her. Number two, Natasha Cloud clearly hit her elbow, and that's why the ball went flying. And obviously, the officials did not give the call. It's starting to get really tiring. These horrible officials. Had a piece of fuzz on my shoulder. It's getting tiring, but it's equally tiring when we don't pause and know what we're talking about. You guys know whenever there's a play where a player thinks that they're getting the short end of the stick, they're all doing this. I said this in the chat. I said, if you notice, nobody was doing that. Nobody was pushing for that. And there's a reason for it. So for those who don't get why she didn't call for why she didn't challenge the play, let's just go over to Chloe Peterson over here on Yahoo Sports. Stephanie White reveals why she didn't challenge Lexie Hull foul at end of Liberty Fever. Says Indiana Fever coach Stephanie White saw her team drop a home nail-biter against the New York Liberty on Saturday. White's coaching initially came into question late in the game when Fever guard Lexie Hull got called for a foul that sent Liberty superstar guard Sabrina Ionescu to the line for the game-winning free throws. White had a challenge to give in the game, and we knew that at the end of the game. She had a challenge, but she didn't call it before the Fever's final possession that ultimately came up short in the 90-88 loss. Yeah, let's say it came up short because the officials stink. Questions immediately arose as to why she held on to it in such a pivotal moment. Well, White had a perfectly reasonable explanation for not using the challenge. She couldn't by the rules of the game. Per the Indy Star's Chloe Peterson, the Fever coach said she couldn't since she would have needed a full timeout to facilitate the challenge, and she only had a reset timeout to give. So then Chloe Peterson, which she put on X, Stephanie White could not challenge that foul call on Lexie Hull, the one that led to the game-winning free throws from Sabrina Ionescu because she didn't have a timeout. You need a full timeout, not a reset timeout, to initiate a challenge. Now, the article goes on to say, well, there you have it. White couldn't use the foul, which is why she didn't call it. White couldn't use the foul. I don't know. That's a weird wording here. But anyway, she couldn't use the challenge. It should say, I believe, which is why she didn't call it. The Fever still look like contenders, even if Saturday's performance fell just short. So there you have that. Lots of people playing coach in this situation. Stephanie White has coached this game for a long time. Stephanie White is a well-respected coach. The officials lost the game. It was a horrible call, Lexie Hull, and it was a horrible non-call for Caitlin Clark. I know, like I said in the chat, some people are of the mind, some officials, that you don't blow the whistle in a situation like that because you don't want to be the one to decide the game. Just do your job, right? Do your job. There's no reason you're not blowing that whistle on an obvious foul where Caitlin is held and then her elbow is hit. I'm on my home floor and I can't get that right call. Should be the right call wherever you are. But that is bogus. Absolutely bogus. It was an amazing comeback. We had an incredible time in the chat, at least when we weren't having people say, I'll never watch this team again because they're down 2, whatever else is out there. But this team turned it around, and it's a shame that the officials are so horrible. I know that a lot goes into a game, but after being down against the defending champs, you battle back. You do all the things that need to be done, and you get robbed. It's just not right. And I'm not a person who generally wants to say, you guys, if you're in the live chat, if somebody calls a foul and it's really a foul, I don't care if it's on a Fever player, I'm going to go, that's a foul. It was a foul. It was a foul. Okay. Right. But so I'm going to be honest and I'm going to be fair. But these ladies are out there playing their hearts out. They're fighting to get back. They're doing all the things that need to be done instead of hanging their heads. They hung their heads a little bit, but they fought back, came out in the third quarter. You guys know, historically, the third quarter is not the Fever's quarter, but they came out and scored 30 points in the third quarter, which you don't usually see with this team. They refused to quit. And for them not only to have to deal with the toughness of New York, but then to have to play against the officials, and we've seen it too many times. It's only 4 games in. And then Stephanie White, oh, she's got to go. Bad call. She's got to go. No matter what you say to people and say it's not what you think. Oh, no, it's got to go. It's got to go. Like I said, if you're not looking at the whole picture, you're going to be in for a miserable long season. You got to understand how these the ever-changing rules, and you got to understand that the coaches understand the rules. So now you know. For those of you been pushing it, why didn't she call for that to be challenged? Number one, I mean, man, my goodness, I don't even trust the officials to make the right call. But in that situation, according to the rules stated here, Stephanie White herself and Chloe Peterson, you can't call it at that time. And so for those who say, well, then why didn't she use all her timeouts? Okay, you're probably the same people who would say, why didn't she call a timeout? Right? They needed timeouts in this game. They needed to refocus. They needed the adjustments. They needed the timeout. So you can't have it both ways, right? You can't say, oh, then she should have called it. She should have had a challenge. And well, she didn't have a challenge because she didn't have any timeouts. Well, then she should be calling timeouts because they need, okay, you call the timeouts and then, oh, why she use all her timeouts? Officials need to get it right. We've got more and more challenges, and more coaches are winning their challenges because these officials are horrible, missing calls. But in that situation, you're not going to tell me that they missed the call, the foul, Caitlin's elbow. They didn't miss it. They chose not to call it. And it's starting to get really tiring. This Fever team, they got some things to shore up, but they battled against this New York Liberty team and the physicality. And so, yeah, they got some things to do better, but there's some things they're doing well. They're not quitting. They're fighting back. They had the Liberty shook for a while, but as I told them in the chat, it's a game of runs. You knew that after that run in the third quarter, it's not like New York is going to sit down. What I told them is, Sandy Brondello, Coach Sandy Brondello, is telling them, listen, it's a game of runs. Calm down. We'll be all right. And then you keep chipping away. And so, kudos to this Fever team for not quitting. I appreciate that. And kudos to the fans for not quitting also. If you want to know what I'm talking about, then you got to watch the live stream that I did. It got rather heated. But for those of you who owe Stephanie White an apology, you can, I'm sure there's some way you can reach her and issue that apology. I say that facetiously, somewhat. Anyway, hey, we're just getting started in this season. If you hang out with the Adrienne Ross Show, we're going to enjoy the game. But I gotta tell you what I see from a coach's perspective, because some people are not seeing the whole picture. But anyway, just dropping a little of that information. I will catch you next time, God willing. God bless you abundantly.